Hi, welcome to another episode of The Nest. Today we are discussing an exciting topic, leaving your baby for the first time. This topic is actually much not prepared for by many mothers. All of us experience leaving the baby for the first time. Sometimes we are prepared, other times we are not. For mothers going back to work, you may think about it in advance. But sometimes functions may come up and you're not prepared for it and you have to go and leave your little one behind. Today we'll be sharing experiences by a mother. We have one mother who's joining us, Betty. Betty, please introduce yourself.
My name is Betty Muli. I am a mother of an 8-year-old boy.
Okay, so we'll be hearing her story regarding her first experience in leaving her little boy. Later on, we'll have an expert joining us to help us prepare better for the first time we leave our babies behind. So I will just delve into this immediately. Betty, tell me, how was your first experience in leaving your little boy?
My first experience, I hadn't planned for it. I had done, prior to getting the baby, I had done my usual baby shopping. But I got my baby during February, March. So it was raining.
Yes.
So I realized that a few weeks into it, I realized I needed to get more warm things for him. And I just had to go, and I didn't have someone to send available immediately, so I just had to go. So I left him with the nanny, and it was just a mess. He refused to take the milk from the bottle. She didn't know much what she was doing, so she kept on calling, how far are you, how far are you? So then, because of that call all the time and hearing him crying in the background, my milk was messing my clothes. So I was walking around town and rushing to Biashara Street, just looking like a hot mess. And it was just, I wish I had prepared. I wish I had known better.
Oh, okay. So that is just a synopsis of her story. So you'll be hearing in details exactly how it was for her. So don't go away as you wait to hear Betty's story. Welcome back. We are discussing leaving your baby for the first time. Before, Betty was giving us a synopsis of how it was like leaving her baby. So Betty, let me ask you, were you prepared before? Do you feel like you had prepared, or it was just an impromptu, you had to go?
I just had to go. And I didn't realize it was going to be a big deal. So I just thought, there's someone who we've been in the house for the last few weeks together. So I didn't think it was a big deal. So I wasn't prepared at all.
Who was in the house?
Just the nanny.
Just the nanny.
And this was a newborn, so it was less than a month into.
And you had no support in terms of your family, sisters?
It was a rainy day. We had washed everything. I think he had thrown up. So I just had to go and buy new things. I couldn't start calling people when you leave work, pass by, It was just something I thought, let me just rush to town. It's an hour. I get what I need. I have the money. And then I come back.
How long did it take? You went to town?
It was less than 2 hours.
It was less than 2 hours?
Yeah.
And still you had the mess of the milk?
Yes. Because immediately she calls and you hear the baby crying, your milk just...
So the nanny is calling? Yes. Adding you pressure.
Yes, how far are you? That time I've just gotten to town. And then, so you're rushing, you've parked at Nakumatt Lifestyle, I remember the basement.
Yes.
So I'm trying to walk to Biashara Street, and then the call, so I'm trying to cross, and then of course you're in Biashara Street, you're seeing all those baby clothes.
Oh my goodness.
Which just make
thinking of your baby is just a bad idea.
Yeah. So I wasn't prepared for it. But after that, the next time I had to leave him, I still tried. The only issue is that maid ended up releasing her, so I got a new maid.
You released her because, was it anything related to the first day of leaving her or something totally different?
Well, on a Sunday she went for her usual day off. And on Sunday evening she called and said she was running late. Could she come on Monday morning? I thought, anyways, I'm on maternity leave. She can always come early Monday morning. And on the Monday morning, she didn't come. So I'm here calling her. And so I just thought she wasn't reliable.
I think that's just another story on caregivers. I think we'll just have to address caregivers on a different setting.
Yeah.
But going back to that specific day, you have decided, because for me my experience was very difficult because I was called and I had to go for a meeting, and I had to go, and I didn't know if I should kiss my baby goodbye. I had no idea. Do I look at her? Do I sneak away? What was running through your mind? Will she survive? Will she feed? No?
The issue is the feeding. So I tried to feed her before I left. So you know, you try it as much and leave her sleeping. You hope that she'll be kept warm, but you keep on worrying because you think that you're the best,
of course,
person for your child.
Of course.
So you keep on worrying if she's really caring for the child the way you would want it. So it's
emotionally, were you anxious?
Very. Very. If I hadn't needed something for the baby.
Okay, so day one when you leave the baby, he was asleep?
I had just fed him. He was asleep, but you know, he had just fallen asleep. So I think maybe he woke up. He hadn't really fallen deep asleep. So maybe something startled him and he woke up. And then I wasn't there. And he's used to me being ever present.
Okay, the second time you're leaving, what had you learned from the first experience?
Is to make sure he's really asleep.
Oh my goodness, how do you do that? I haven't figured it out myself.
I mean, put him to sleep and wait for like half an hour so that you're sure that it wasn't that snooze.
Well, for me, my baby sometimes will sleep for 1 hour in a bucket that would rather do like 3 hours sometimes.
Oh, my son, I was blessed with a heavy sleeper. So the second time was I thought I had it. I thought I had it covered and it went well. The real issue came when I went back to employment.
Okay.
Yeah. Because now that was going to be...
Now that's leaving the child the first time. Now for a long, for a full day.
It's not, you know, while he's asleep, you sneak out and sneak back in. This is now genuinely leaving the child in someone's care.
Yes.
That was hard. Because we had been preparing. We had been trying the bottle feeding. I had been expressing, but my boy would refuse.
The express milk or the bottle feeding?
Expressed milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you didn't try spoon?
We tried it anyway. He'd refuse.
He wants the real thing.
He wants the real thing.
Okay.
Luckily, I was on maternity leave for long, so I came back to employment when he was around 5 months.
Okay. Okay.
But because of that, he just refused milk not from the mother. We tried formula, we tried everything. And I had my big sister helping out, so I knew genuinely it wasn't the maid who just says, you know what, I'm
my baby, so
so it was someone who cared for him almost as much as I did. And she's tried and she's told me, this baby, he just tastes a little and then he spits it out, just enough to relieve the hunger, but he's not full.
Oh dear.
So he's just fasting, and you know, we know he's not well fed. So I would go to, luckily the office and my home were close by. So I'd go to work a bit late and come back for lunch, for a long lunch.
Among the few lucky ones.
So I'd be home by 12 and leave at 2 so that I can feed him at 12 and at 2 before I leave. Then I'd leave, sneak out of work at 4:30 so that I can be home
on time again.
But then in the afternoon they'd keep on calling and saying, you know, this baby is crying, is crying, is crying. We tried even porridge so that the 10 a.m. feed is because porridge, anything not milk he'd take.
Yes.
But just milk, don't give me milk by other means. So at the end of it all, you know, after a month of employment, as I said, it wasn't working.
It wasn't working. It's
wasn't.
Done.
Because I mean, I'm not performing it. Even if I don't leave, they're going to release me.
Okay.
Because I'm always looking to sneak out.
You're always sneaking out. To go and manage the baby, who again you're sneaking away from to go back to the office.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So 1 month later, you're done. You decide work. That's it. Kaput.
Yeah.
And you went into
business.
Went into business.
Yes. Because I mean, I also like eating. and sleeping. The roof. So rent needs to be paid, the children need to be fed, you know. So I had to look for a business to do. So I started an online business at the time to allow me to work from home and to be able to manage my son's feeding.
You're very, very, very lucky, because I know not every mother has the opportunity to actually leave their regular employment. So next we're going to be having an expert. Maybe Betty would have done this differently. Maybe she should have remained in employment. If we hear advice on how to prepare better for leaving our babies for the first time. Sydney, our doula, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sydney and I am a certified doula. I have been a doula for about 3 years. And I've been living in Kenya for the last 6 months being a doula, and I am very happy being here.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Now, the question that we need you to help us with, Betty was sharing with us her very difficult experience being a mom alone and leaving her baby for the first time, going for shopping, 2 hours, which was very dramatic, and then later on leaving the baby for the whole day. Now, our question is, what different thing can a mother do to prepare in advance?
Okay, so to prepare in advance, start looking for a nanny. And once you find the nanny that you like, have them come over, like at least I would say a week or so before you have the baby, to get to know you and your family and what you expect from the nanny. You need to prepare before the baby gets there. Once the baby gets there, it's all about the baby. So getting somebody before to prepare them, show them the routine that you want to start and what you expect of them is the best thing to do.
So you're saying that for a mom to have an easier time leaving the baby at home for the first time, it would be better if they had a consistent nanny from the beginning,
for sure,
before the baby's arrival.
Yes, if you have somebody after like you choose and you keep going through different nannies, the baby's gonna get confused. They're not gonna know who's gonna be the next one that next day to come over and take care of them. And when they get older, it gets tough. Like they start loving these nannies and they become really close to them. So yeah, they do become the second mom. So if you keep going through nannies, this baby or this little kid is not going to know who's going to be the next one the next day.
And you know, the truth is, probably, I don't know if Betty you have the same experience, every time you have a new caregiver, when you're leaving the baby, it feels like you're leaving the baby for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah?
It does, because you're not sure how this person will work without you being present. And this person is another person who has come from a different background than yours. So, you know, it's a whole new chemistry. It's a whole new dynamic.
Yeah. So now, tell us, is the baby mature enough to have any psychological effects when you leave them, or is it just us the moms who are haunted?
I feel like it's more the moms. The baby, once they know this caregiver, they're going to feel really comfortable with them. It's just the process of the baby getting to know the caregiver and being comfortable with them.
And how would you maybe think about the issue of sneaking out? She mentioned a lot about sneaking. She actually used to sneak out, you know, and then sneak back to the office. Her life was a sneaky life.
So you never know how long the baby's gonna sleep. So I think it's better that the baby or the child knows that you are gonna be leaving, and that it doesn't matter how long you're gone. They just need to see that you're leaving, so they're not wondering where you are.
So we have a question.
I mean, how do you communicate to the baby? And it's a 3-month baby. I'm leaving and I'll come back.
You just have them see you leave. Like maybe you walk to the door with the mom, with the baby, and they're seeing you leave. So even though it's still a baby, it's still good for them to know that you're leaving.
I don't think they even are intelligent enough, because for me, the first time I left, I was looking at her and I was waiting for expressions on her face, and I'm at the door and I realized I can actually give her a kiss. She's just looking at me as I say goodbye, you know.
Yeah, it's good for them to get a kiss or goodbye.
And what happens as they grow older, because right now I could enjoy because the baby is young. But when they grow older and they understand mom is leaving, how do I deal with that?
Well, for an older kid, there's playing different games with them, there's taking them outside, there's going to the park after you leave. There's different fun things you can do with an older kid to distract them when you're leaving.
Okay. So basically you do not sneak out, but you create a fun environment as you leave. So the living becomes fun. So probably if you're going to the car or if you're going to the stage, you go with the nanny and
take them on a walk around the neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
Just do something fun with them, and they're going to end up forgetting that you left, and they're gonna know that my nanny is there, and we're gonna have a fun time now, and mom will be back later. I like that. You wanted to say something in probably in defiance?
Yeah, because I remember when he was like 9 months, a year, when he's more aware, he was comfortable leaving me. So the way I would live is, you know, if he leaves, if he goes to the shop or if he goes for a walk, he's comfortable him telling me bye and leaving me. But me leaving him, even if we've spent the whole day together, even if we've played and we've gone for walks and what have you, me leaving him was always hard.
Even when you go for the walk and when you go for, did you make it fun? Because it looks like the baby wants to go out. So if you take the opportunity,
if he goes out with the maid and leaves me in the house, he's fine. Even if he sees me driving off, but he's the one who initiated
the goodbye.
Yes.
I think that's where the trick comes in. It's still a trick. It still feels like a psychological trick where you actually are going out. So you're all kind of having fun as you go out, and let the baby be the one to say goodbye if your baby is mature enough to see you leave and know you're going, and you'll be back, and you'll probably be back with, you know, tamo, you know, nice things. You never did any of those kind of things. Okay, now my next question would be about anxiety. How can a mother manage the anxiety that she has? Because every mother is just anxious when it's time to leave the baby. Is there anything that a mother would do? Maybe trust more? What can a mother do to... Because I think one of the things that most mothers do, especially now here, is very many parents are for the nanny cams.
Yes, even in the States, most people will have nanny cams around the house just to be able to watch the baby and see how the nanny's interacting with the baby. But every house I've been to that I've nannied at have had nanny cams. They want to watch the baby. They want to make sure you're not doing anything. You're not hurting the baby, and so that's the only way you know what's going on, is if you have a nanny cam.
And if you constantly call, assuming most mothers, the first few days they're constantly on their phones, just, you know, you're at work but you're just watching the watching the camera. Calling back home, calling the nanny all the time.
Well, I feel like you should come up with times during the day that you're gonna call and check in. Calling every 30 minutes or whatever is gonna get hard for the nanny to be able to do her job. She's going to be focused on talking to you, and she should be focused on the baby. So maybe at 12, 3, and 5 or something, you make a time that you can call and just check in. How's the baby doing? Is anything going on? So instead of just calling all the time.
I think the other thing I've also heard other mothers share as well is intuition, and not the false intuition of anxiety where they're just anxious because they're leaving the baby at home, but actually there's a day out of the day that you leave the baby at home and you actually feel anxious. I think the sixth sense can also just alert you, hey, you need to call back home. So I think mothers as well should tap into that intuition as well.
Even when I read the nanny,
yes,
you should, you know, when you're during the interview process, you need to follow your gut feeling. If you don't feel comfortable with someone, as much as she might have references, and because there's also different parenting styles. So if you feel like we're not gelling, then You just let it pass.
Yeah, so you have to keep checking onto your intuition, checking on your intuition.
So for the mom with the twins, she left me with a checklist of things like to do after the babies were like asleep, like cleaning their bottles and just doing things around the house. I would do the baby's laundry, and then there were like maybe every like 4 to 5 days I would change their bedding and put new bedding. It's good for the bedding to be changed quite often with newborns. So I would do that, and then she would have me just do mopping and stuff around the house and do vacuuming. So I would just do that kind of stuff to help the mom, because when she gets home she's just worried about the kids and getting the babies to bed and doing the routine. So I would help her with house stuff.
Okay, so basically you're saying is leaving the baby at home, you're able to leave whoever nanny is there with a long list of exactly what to do, then that would give you peace while you're away. Okay.
And then you're not coming home and you have to do all this extra stuff. You can just worry about the baby and do the night routine.
Okay, okay. I think the last question that I wanted to ask actually is back on my mind, the issue of milk letdown. She was sharing with us that she was gone for only 2 hours and she had a lot of milk letting down, and many mothers, when they leave the baby for the first time, they get a lot of, and I think no one tells us these things. You actually experience them when you're out there and you're on the road and you're all wet.
And people are looking
and people are looking at you,
Yeah.
and you have no solution actually. Actually, most of the time before you realize you're wet, you do not even know that you're wet. What would you tell us as mothers? What is it that triggers this milk? Is there a way to just cut it and tell my milk, don't come now? I don't know.
I wish I could say that, but it could be like you're walking around somewhere and you see a baby. That's a trigger for the milk to come, or hearing a baby cry is a trigger for the milk to come. So there's no way for you to say like, oh, milk, don't come, I'm not home with the baby. Like, if there's a trigger, it's probably gonna happen.
Wow, okay, so there's no escape, because I thought brain, baby, breast. So I thought if I don't see the baby, then maybe I should be able to have no milk at all. But
No, it may, even if it's not your baby and you see a baby, your milk may. Yeah, or hearing a baby cry.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think the biggest. Before I share my biggest takeout, probably, Betty, do you think things with what Sydney has shared, do you think you'd have done things differently and probably remained in employment with her?
I think there's something major she said about having the nanny join you while you're still pregnant.
Yes.
See, I had never had a nanny. I had never needed to have a nanny in my home.
Okay.
Prior to the baby coming.
Yes.
So even when the baby came, the nanny was brought by my parents after we were back home from.
So you didn't even. We're not part of selecting the nanny.
No, I was brought. You know, they get you someone. They vetted them. They know the relatives. They know this is a good girl, and they brought her to your home.
Yes.
So we didn't know each other. We hadn't gelled. She didn't know what my routine looks like.
Yes.
And I also didn't know who is this person, but I've been told she's a good person.
Wow.
So I think that is something you said, that maybe if I had done that, we might have stayed, even if I had ended up hiring the same person. If she had been brought, if she had to have been brought, because I also didn't know what you interview and ask.
Yeah.
Even if I had been told go and interview them, I didn't know what to ask at that time. So maybe if she had come earlier and we had time to know each other prior to the baby coming, and then we'd had some time, then by the time I needed to go the first time, it would have been 2 months of having her around.
Yes.
I think it would have been
much easier. Yeah. So please, viewers, as you watch, we are waiting on your comments, questions, and even experiences. Please share with us and let us know what you'd like to, for us to share with the world on your experiences on leaving a baby for the first time. For me, the biggest 2 takeouts, I think, was one of them being making living fun. So getting a fun activity at that, and also getting a caregiver who will have who will give you peace as well as you leave your baby for the first time. I think we'll have to end it there. Please remember to send us your experiences, even embarrassing ones, and we'll be able to read them and share them out and laugh together. Remember to send us comments, questions, any topics you'd like us to cover. Please send this to us and we'll be able to just discuss them for you. I'd like to at this moment thank our doula. Thank you very much for joining us, Sydney.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much, Betty, for all that inspiration and information regarding leaving the baby for the first time. Remember, please make leaving fun, and also get a nanny much in advance so that when you're leaving, you're at peace. Always meet us here at CTN TV. I am your host, Gladwell Kameni.